In the Impact segment tonight, tracking down the terrorists. It is just a matter of time before the Taliban government falls in Afghanistan, but tracking down the entire terror network is quite another story, and we have to do that. Right now, a promising trail leads to our ally and supposed friend, Saudi Arabia, and another major terror player may be in prison in New York City. With us now is Professor Benjamin Barber, who teaches at Rutgers University. He has authored the book, Jihad versus McWorld, Terrorism's Challenge to Democracy. And attorney Michael Wilds, who represented a Saudi Arabian defector. So you know a lot about these Saudi Arabians, Counselor. Was it surprise you that they are blocking our investigation into the terror networks and that more than half of the suicide terrorists were Saudis?
Not at all. We've seen through the years how the Khobar Towers and other atrocities where Americans have played victim to terrorism, how the Saudis, on the one hand, have a very strong fellowship with our government, and on the other hand, may have actually facilitated terrorism. They certainly have an intelligence presence on U.S. soil, and the scores of Saudi students that overstay their visas or come as students and don't actually attend schools is countless.
Countless numbers of Saudis in this country right now?
Absolutely. I heard from about 9 different individuals of the detainees that have now reached out from immigration jails looking for representation. A lot of them are Saudi students that either have pilot licenses or structural engineers that are looking for representation, having come here years ago. So
they're in custody now?
Absolutely.
And they tell you, hey, I got my friends are here. They haven't rounded them up yet?
Well, the question is, why are they here? Why is it that the government has no intelligence as to what courses they're taking?
Because the INS is lazy and doesn't know. That's why. That's the answer there. Now, Professor, we have a terrorist named Zacarias Moussaoui, who is a 33-year-old Moroccan, who was arrested in Minneapolis. He's in jail here in New York City. This guy wanted to learn how to fly a plane, but he didn't want to learn how to land it or take off. Okay? And the FBI picked him up in August, but they didn't investigate him way before that when they could have. Is this a pattern of behavior?
Well, it is a pattern, but you want to remember we do live in a free and open society. And one of the problems when you live there is you tend to trust a lot of people. It's an open and transparent society in which people can slip into sleeper positions, and to normal Americans they look like normal folk, and if they have a special agenda it's very hard for us to catch them unless we create the kind of police state system that it's easy to catch them. And I think that's, they take advantage. They actually jiu-jitsu style take advantage of our freedoms.
But
they turn our freedoms against
certainly
us.
We can tighten up the immigration.
Sure. Well,
I mean, that's outrageous
we
what
have
they've
to,
done
and
here.
we can, and
right,
we will.
And we have to. Now, you wrote the book about the jihad versus our society here. Sending anthrax in the mail, I mean, I can't imagine how evil a person is to do that.
I think we have to distinguish two things. We have to distinguish the diabolical evil of people who do those acts and the way in which so many other people around the world who aren't diabolical but who are despondent, who are despairing, who are unhappy, seem to applaud it. We have to separate those two. The terrorists, we only can bring them to justice, extirpate them, root, trunk, and branch.
But if you applaud evil, aren't you evil?
There are gradations all the way down the line. There are people in this country who say there's something wrong with this country. We heard Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell say, America got what it deserved. Are they evil? Are they evil? I mean, there are people all over the place who talk that language.
If you aid and abet a terrorist, I testified 2 years ago on Capitol Hill in support of anti-terrorism legislation that would have removed people who would give a safe haven to terrorists. Why wasn't that bill curtailed? Why didn't it pass? The Clinton administration at the time was making overtures to the government of Iran. The problem with all this is that politics plays an enormous amount of influence.
There's no question. When you were representing a couple of Saudis in the past, you had a defector who wanted to tell the government all the bad things Saudi Arabia was doing, right?
Well, pulling back the lens on the big picture, there is an enormous amount of an intelligence presence of Middle Eastern countries on U.S. soil, whether it's the UN or not. The fact is we have foreign students, we have religious clerics, and diplomats that cover themselves with veils that were never contemplated by Congress, and this has to stop.
But I want to get to specific thing. You represented a defector from Saudi Arabia who's now in a witness protection program. He wanted to tell the government what was going on. The government didn't want to hear it?
The government at the time didn't know how to deal with it because of the strong fellowship the United States enjoyed with Saudi Arabia.
All right, is this the Clinton administration?
This was the Clinton administration.
And Janet Reno's Attorney General?
In 1994.
All right, so your guy presented evidence that looked at terrorism going on inside Saudi Arabia. They didn't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's not just about Clinton. It's about American foreign policy.
No, but wait a minute, Professor. Don't give him a skate. Don't give him a skate. If this guy has information.
I want an indictment right across the board. I'll indict Clinton. I'll indict the senior Bush, the junior Bush. Why are all our friends these opportunistic dictatorships? Why do we make so many friends, people who play it both ways?
Because they sell their oil to us
And
for
military
reasonable
now you're
prices.
talking. That hasn't nothing to do with
Oil.
Clinton. That's the American way.
That's the American way.
We got to
What's the
figure out
choice? The jihad
the
guys?
choice. Not at all. That's the point. We've got to figure out who the real Democrats are. They're certainly not the jihadic fundamentalists, but nor are they the monarchists and the dictators.
You know
who
where
we're
they
siding
are?
with
They're
now.
dead, Professor.
You know, no,
They've
no, you
been
know who our new
killed.
friends are? The Iranians are our new friends.
Well,
right? I mean, you know, what's that
the
tell you?
fact is that we've bartered our children who have been absconded to other countries for oil and military installations. We've lost sight of what kind of individual is on U.S. soil. That is unconscionable.
All right, but the bottom line on this is the reason we've all done this is that we need their damn oil over there.
Absolutely.
And we're going to play ball with the guys who give it to us. Gentlemen, thanks for coming in. We appreciate
Thanks.
it. When we come right back, will Congress...